Hey guys, welcome back to my channel AG Motion Designs, and in today's video we are going to create this creative text animation inside of After Effects, obviously without using any third-party plugin. So if you are new to this channel, then please consider to subscribe this channel, and if you like this video then don't forget to hit that like button also. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So here we are in Adobe After Effects. Let's create a new composition. I'll call it as main animation as always. Width is 1920, height 180, frame rate I'm going to choose 30 seconds, and background color we are going to choose black color and simply hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and hit on title section to get this kind of grid. Now select your text tool first, and for the font I'm going to choose Poppins, and I'm going to choose black version of this font. And first of all I'm going to type T over here, select this font, and let's increase the size of this text. Let's choose somewhere around, let's say 200 maybe. Okay, now select this text, press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Now select this text, right click, go to the pre-compose, and let's call this comp as T and simply hit OK. Now select this, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, and I'm going to type Y over here. Double click to open this comp, and we need to change this text to Y. Same, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, then type P over here. Double click to open this, and let's name it as P. Okay, and also side by side you should open this. So T, then Y, then I want P. So basically we are going to type the spelling of it. So TYP. And let's select this font, and let's choose, instead of black I'm going to choose only bold version of this font. Okay, over here also let's choose bold version because black version looks quite weird. Okay, again now select this P, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, and let's call it as O. Double click to open this comp, and let's call it as O. So TYPO, then hit Ctrl D, enter, let's call it as G. Double click to open this, let's call it as G, typo, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, call it as R. Double click to open it, type not A but R, Ctrl D, enter, A. Double click to open this, let's call it as A, and again we need P. So all you can do is simply select this P and simply hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Double click to open this and make sure this is P. So TYPOGRAP, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, let's call it as H. Double click to open this, let's call it as H, and we have Y also. So select this Y, hit Ctrl D and double click to open this. Okay, so our spelling is ready. Now go to the main animation, select your text tool and type actual text, typography. Now select this text, press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Select this text, go to the character menu, and over here we are going to choose red color because this layer is gonna act like our reference layer, and I'll lock this. Now select this T, press V, and let's bring this over here. So basically we will bring all of our alphabets and we will try to adjust it according to the position of our text. So then I'll bring my Y by holding shift, I'm going to adjust it. Then bring our P, adjust it like this. Then bring your O, move this over here, adjust it over here. Then bring your G, adjust it over here. Then bring your R, let's move this over here. Then I'll bring my A, then I'll bring this P. Make sure that this is P2, so don't get confused, like this. And then we will bring our last alphabets, which is Y, and I'll move this over here. So all of these alphabets are ready, so I'll delete this reference layer. So this is gonna be my text. Then go to the T. Now we will start to animate each and every alphabet with the help of different methods. So first of all, in this T, I'm going to select this text. I'll right click, I'll go to the create and create shape from text. Then I'll delete this text. Now select this text. In over here you will get this search option. Let's type PATH over here, so it will automatically open the path option. So simply click on it, zoom in a little bit and go to around 1 second and create one keyframe. Let's delete this initial keyframe. Go to the 20 frames and let's create one keyframe again. Now select your selection tool, and with the help of that I'm going to select this much portion, and while holding shift I'm going to bring this out of this composition. Then go to around 10 frames. Let's select this much portion and let's bring this over here. So if I select this, hit play, I'll get something like this. Okay, now after that go few frame forwards and again create one keyframe. And after that, at this keyframe, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select this much portion. Let's zoom in and let's move this over here like this. So if I see this animation, I'll get something like this. Now select those keyframes and hit F9, and if you hit play we will get something like this. Okay, let's select this text, hold alt, open bracket, and let's bring this at the start. So if I see this animation now, I'll get something like this. Now after that, let's select this text and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, and let's move this over here. Now this is gonna be my fill and this is gonna be my stroke. So I'll select the second layer and I'll change the color to yellow. Okay, now after that, for this layer specifically, I don't want any fill but I want stroke. So what I'm gonna do, first of all, I'll go to the contents, I'll go to the add, and I'll bring my stroke over here like this. You can enable stroke from here also. Let's go to the stroke options and choose white color for the stroke like this, and let's enable this layer only. Okay, and over here I'm going to hide this fill, so we will get only stroke over here like this. And if you want to increase the what you call the stroke width, you can do that also. I'm going to stick with 2 only like this. So if I see this thing now, first I'll get this, then I'll get this. Okay, and after that I'm going to select this stroke. I'll press T for opacity. Let's create one keyframe, go few frame forward, and let's decrease the opacity. And now over here I'm going to increase the stroke width to, let's say, 6 like this. So if I see this animation now, I'll get something like this. Okay, so this is for an T alphabet. Let's go to the Y. Over here I'm going to select this layer. I'll press F4 to enable my 3D options. So I'll enable this, and let's select this, press R for rotation, and let's initially rotate it on y-axis, and let's make this minus 45, or let's make this 0 initially, and let's try to rotate it somewhere around like this, and let's make this minus 90. So as you guys can see, we cannot see this text yet. So let's create one keyframe, zoom in a little bit and go to around 1.20 frames, and over here I'm going to make it 0, and then I'll make it 3. Okay, so if I see this animation, I'll get this kind of rotating animation. Now select those keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, I'll move this handle over here and this handle over here. So if I hit play, I'll get something like this. Okay, so but if you see, this looks quite weird. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it, instead of 3 rotation, I'll stick with only 1 rotation. So I'll get something like this. And also I'm going to enable my motion blur over here. So let's now go to P. Now let's select this P, press P for position and create one keyframe. Go to around 20 seconds, I mean 20 frames, and let's move this over here and go over here and copy first keyframe, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, go few frame forward. Let's move this upward, go few frame forward, again Ctrl C, Ctrl V, this keyframe. Now go to the start and we will bring this totally downwards. Now select those keyframe and hit F9, and if you see, we will get something like this. Now let's go to the graph editor. I'll select this handle, by holding shift, move this over here, zoom in, select this, move this over here and this over here. So if I hit play, I'll get this kind of animation. Okay, now let's select this, move this handle over here, select this, move this handle over here, this handle over here, and let's move this handle over here. Now after that, I'm going to select all of these keyframes, and by holding alt, I'm going to adjust it to around 1 second, so I'll get this kind of pop-up. Now select this P, press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here and let's make this one complete rotation, select those keyframe and hit F9. So if I see, I'll get this kind of animation. Now after that, go to the last keyframe, select your rectangle and let's not add our stroke, and I'm going to create one rectangle like this. Okay, now select this P and make this alpha matte, so I'll get this kind of animation. Now this is for this what we call P. Then we have this O. For O, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to use my ellipse tool, and I don't want any fill, so I'll delete this fill. I want stroke, and initially let's choose red color, and then I'm going to create one stroke like this. Then press Ctrl Alt Hope to align that anchor point. To go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Press S for scaling option and scale it like this. And also I'm going to increase the stroke width somewhere around like this. Now after that, let's delete this text layer, and I'm going to choose this shape layer as my O later, and choose white color like this. Then we will go to the add menu and we will choose trim part. Let's go to the trim part and let's make this in properties 0, create one keyframe, hit U, go to around let's say 1 second and let's make this 100. Select those keyframe and hit F9. So if you hit play, we will get something like this. Now after that, let's select this, go to the ellipse path, or not ellipse path, but let's go to the stroke, and over here I'm going to choose round cap. So if I see, I'll get something like this. Now let's create one keyframe at the stroke width. Right now the stroke width is 31. Let's make it 0 initially, go few frame forward, and then let's make this 31. Okay, and hit U, select those keyframe and hit F9. So I'll get something like this. Now what we need to do, I'll select this and hit Ctrl D up to let's say 6 times, select all of these layers and hit U again, and go to the 10th frame where my stroke keyframes are, and select the 6th layer. Over here stroke width, I'm going to type 5, over here let's say 10, over here 15, over here 20, over here 25, and at the last I'm going to stick with the 31 AD. Okay, go few frame forward, let's go to the 10 frames maybe. Let's select this, move this over here, move this over here. Okay, so if I see this now, I'll get something like this. Okay, now select all of them and press T for opacity. Select the 6th layer. Let's make this let's say 10 maybe. Let's make this 30. Let's make this 50. Sorry, 50. Let's make this opacity, let's say 75. Let's make this 80. So we will get something like this. Okay, now after that we have this G over here. For this G, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select this, I'll press P for position. Let's create one keyframe, go to around let's say 1 or let's say 1.20 frames, create another keyframe. Let's go to the start and let's bring this over here, and let's press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here and let's make this 2 complete rotation. Select those keyframe and hit F9. So instead I think we need to make this -2 like this, and let's select the first keyframe, and by holding Control I'm going to click on it, so it will remove the ease in ease animation for this. So for G we have this small animation. Then we need to animate this R also. So for R, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create one type of bouncing animation. So let's select this text, right click, choose separate dimensions, create one keyframe at X, zoom in a little bit, go to around 1.20 frames, create another keyframe, go over here and let's move this over here. Then we will create one keyframe at Y position. In middle of that we will create another, sorry, in middle of that we will create one keyframe. Over here we will again create one keyframe, and over here we will bring this Y position over here. And over here I'll select this, I'll hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, then select those keyframe and hit F9. Oh yeah, we will select this keyframe and hit F9. We will go to the graph editor, zoom in a little bit. Let's go over here by holding shift, move this handle over here and this handle over here, select this handle should be over here, select this, and this handle should be over here. So we will get this kind of bounciness. Again select this, move this over here, this over here. Okay, and after that select this text, press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, let's make this one complete rotation, go over here and let's make this two rotation. Select those keyframe and hit F9. So if you hit play, I'll get something like this. Okay, so this is for R also, and now we need to animate this A. For A, what we are gonna do, we will select our pen tool, and over here we need to create one stroke like this. And for the stroke width I'm going to choose 10 pixels. Let's select this, press Ctrl Alt Home, let's move this over here like this. Let's say choose stroke width, let's say 2, not much more. Select this stroke, press Ctrl Alt Home, and then we will go to the add menu and we will choose repeater. Then go to the repeater 1, go to the transform repeater 1 and position, let's make this 0, and we will increase on y-axis somewhere around like this, and also increase the copies. Press R for rotation and rotate it like this. Let's move this over here. Okay, then after that let's select this, and then we will go to the add menu and we will choose trim path. Go to the trim path and let's make this on property 0, create one keyframe, hit U, zoom in a little bit, go to around 1 second and let's make this end property 100. Now select those keyframe and hit F9 like this. So we will get something like this. Select this keyframe, I mean the shape layer, hit Ctrl D, press R for rotation, and now we will rotate it like this, and press V, and let's move this over here like this. Okay, so first I want this, then I'll go to the 10 frames and let's move this over here, so I'll get something like this. Okay, and after that select both the strokes, and go to the search option and type stroke, so we'll get the stroke width option, and create one keyframe each and go few frame forward, and let's increase the stroke width of this one. Let's make this 10, and let's make this the stroke width of this one also 10, or let's say 15, and let's say 15. So we'll get something like that, and let's select those keyframe and hit F9. Let's make this 20, so it will completely cover the entire portion, and select those keyframes and let's move this a little bit forward. So if I see, I'll get this, then this. Okay, and select both of these layers, press Ctrl Shift C and let's call it as mask and hit OK. Select this text and choose alpha matte. So if I see this animation, I'll get something like this. Okay, then select both of these layers, press Ctrl Shift C and I'll call it as A only. Select this, hit Ctrl D, go to around 20 frames and let's move this over here. Now we will select this layer, we will go to the effect and presets panel and we will search for find edge effect, double click to apply and invert it. So if I see this animation now, I'll get something like this. Okay, then we have this P2 over here. If you want, then you can use this P on again. So I'm not gonna animate this P2 because we have already animated that, so let's cancel this. Then we will animate this edge. So select this edge, right click, go to the create and shape from text, and let's delete this edge. Let's select this, go to the search option and type path, create one keyframe over here, so we can see this, hit U, go to around 1 or let's say 20 frames. Create another keyframe, go to the start, create another keyframe, and we will select this much portion and we'll move this over here. Then go to over here, select all of them, and then let's move them over here. Then select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph, holding shift, move this handle over here and this handle over here like this. And by holding alt, I'm going to move this up to 1 second like this. Also press F4, select this and enable this motion blur. Okay, and also we have already created Y animation for this, but this Y animation is very normal, so for this one I think we should animate this. So let's select this, right click and create shape from text, or before that let's select this and hit Ctrl D, go to the character menu, and I'm going to delete this fill. I'm going to apply white color for the stroke, and stroke width I'm going to choose 2. Select this, right click, create shape from text and delete this layer. Let's hide this Y. So we have this stroke layer over here, and let's go to the add menu and choose trim path. Go to the trim path and let's make this 0 initially, create one keyframe, zoom in a little bit, go to around 1 second and let's make this 100. So we will get this animation. And after that, at this point I want this thing should start animate, so I'll move this over here. I'll go to the I'll choose my rectangle tool. I don't want any stroke, and I'm going to choose white color and simply hit OK. And then I'm going to create one rectangle and select this and move this over here and adjust it over here, and select this one and choose alpha matte. Select this shape layer, press P for position, create one keyframe, go few frame forward, create another keyframe and go to the start, and let's bring this downwards like this, and select those keyframe and hit F9. So we will get something like this, first Y and then this. Okay, so if I go to the main animation and if I start to play this animation, obviously they will start to animate all at once, but what I want that they should not start animating one by one. And one thing is there that we have to replace this P2, so hit Ctrl 0 to open the project window, select your P, and by holding alt I'm going to replace it with this. So if I see, I'll get something like this. Now let's zoom in a little bit, go to around let's say 10 frames, select this, let's move this over here, and I'm going to make it the distance of 10 frames for each and every one. And let's see first how does it looks. Okay, this looks good to me, so let's keep it as it is. Okay, or instead of that, select all of them and let's move this over here, go to around 5 frames, alt close bracket, right click, keyframe assistant, sequence layers and hit OK. So you can do something like this, or let's select this 10th layer first, then by holding shift I'm going to select this layer, keyframe assistant, sequence layers, hit OK. So we'll get something like this, and let's increase the duration of this comp. So if I say this thing now, I'll get something like this. Let's select all of them, press Ctrl Shift C, and I'll call it as text animation and hit OK. Hit Ctrl D, press S, unlink this, let's make this -100, press P, bring this downwards like this, press T for opacity, let's make this opacity 40. Then select this text layer, select your shape, select this much portion, go to the mask and increase the feathers like this. Okay, so we will get this kind of reflection also. So if I see this animation now, I'll get something like this. So this is how you can create this kind of animation for your text. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and if you like this tutorial then please consider to subscribe this channel and also hit the bell icon to get more updates. And if you want to create some more interesting animations like this, then check out these 2 videos. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, stay tuned.